So my brother called me the other day. He told me he needs to start working out a little bit more. But he's got one problem. I'm not sure if it's because he's getting too old or what, but he said he can't bend over to pick up the weights anymore. So let's make a simple little 2x4 rack to get these off the ground a little bit and help him out. Let's get to work. So here's the basic idea I'm thinking of. Basic 2x4s. It's going to be like 2.5 feet across and about 2 feet tall. And then I'm going to do some sort of a V-rack at the bottom to hold a couple kettlebells and maybe some boxes, or if you have workout DVDs or whatever you want to put down here. And plus it helps tie the structure together. And then a side profile, just a 2x4 is attached to the side with a notch cut out of them. And I'll show you that in a little bit, how that'll work. And then I'm not quite sure how this is all going to work down here, but I'm thinking some 2x3s at the bottom, make it a little bit lower profile so it's less of a tripping hazard. And then some sort of a 2x4 or 2x3s to make a little bit of an A-frame to help support this. So here's how this top brace would work. If we attach the 2x4s to the vertical one like this, and then we notch out using the table saw these little channels on the sides, the weight should then sit nicely in that little groove and keep it from sliding off. And the spacing is about perfect for one of these dumbbells. The first thing we're going to do is cut the 2-foot vertical supports. Now let's cut the 2.5-foot sections for the horizontal supports. And this is what they look like after some sanding with some 60 grit and then some 120 grit. A couple holes here still. I might try to fill those from here. But for some scrap wood, I think they turned out pretty nice and smooth. Finish up nicely. So I'm thinking of raising up the back one about the height of a 2x4, because then it gives us this nice little angle. Should make it nice and easy to grab and take off. The next step is to build the frame. Unfortunately, I lost some of the footage of this, but the main thing, keep it square, drill some pilot holes, and drive home your screws. In this next step, take some 2x3s, cut them to about 14 inches long, and then miter the ends. So as you can see, I decided to not do more of an A-frame style here. I think I'm overcomplicating it if I do that. I think this is plenty strong for how much weight this thing is going to be supporting. 2 on each side. This thing is definitely stable. It's not going to go anywhere. So So the next step is to put in these bottom boards. I wasn't positive exactly how I wanted to do this, but one way you could do it is just put them flat like this. Super simple. Still set stuff on here. If that's what you want, you could even just use one board if you're not going to use it at all, really. I want to try to do kind of a V, maybe about a 90 degrees. And I'm thinking doing a pocket hole in the bottom and then doing a long screw on the top here and see if that'll be enough to support this. The assembly is complete. Next thing I'm going to do is hit it with a little bit more sandpaper, hit it at about around 200 grit or so. And then after that, I'm going to put on a clear on it just to kind of help protect it. And then it should be good to go. And another thing I've done is I've come in and I've kind of rounded the corners a little bit so they don't get splintered when things hit them. A little easier to touch. You can see here, slight chamfer on that. Kind of did that on the top ones too when I was sanding everything. Otherwise, I'm happy with how it turned out. The next step is to put a clear on this. The recipe I use is about half shellac and half denatured alcohol. Put them in a cup, mix them up, use a foam brush, apply it, let it dry for 15 minutes or so, come back with one of these green Scotch pads and buff the whole thing, smooth it out, apply another coat and do the same thing, 2 to 4 coats depending on how smooth you want it, and then you have a nice finish that you can dust and not get your rag caught on it and all that stuff. And it's quick and easy, and it dries really fast, which is really nice.